Ladies and gentlemen, we're back again. More fun and games with your professor of native literature at Sisseton, Wahpeton College. And actually, we're here in lovely downtown Indianapolis, Indiana. And as I promised, I'm going to read to you from our book, Read, Listen, Tell. And I figured I'd do it by the fireplace, kick back, and have a little bit of fun with you guys really fast. This is a short story called The Boys Who Became a Killer Whale by Ellen Rice White. And I'm not going to read the entire story because it's too long. I'll just give you a little bit of background. I'll start with the beginning. It says here on page 273. Let me take out the page marker for a second. There we go. Page 273. A group of young people was gathered at a private meeting place far away from their village. It was a special place where they went when they had concerns that they didn't want the elders to hear. These young people, who had not quite reached the age of puberty, were upset that they were not included with their older brothers and sisters during the teaching time, and they felt they were missing out on sacred teachings. So here's our background. This is the story. It's a bunch of kids, pre-pubescent. They're feeling left out and I don't know, what's the word, left out and abused. I don't like that word, abused. Let's just say neglected by their elders. This is an Indian village. The oldest boy is named Shuyush. Shuyush. Maybe that's how you pronounce it. It means the older one, Shuyush. So Shuyush is the leader of these kids, and they're all feeling pretty left out and miffed that the elders, the adults, are not paying attention to them, and they're always messing up, and every time they mess up, the elders just, get out of here, you dumb little kids, you're nothing but annoyances. So they get together in their secret place, and they have a meeting, and they decide they're going to build, with what little sacred knowledge they have, they're going to build their own killer whale. So let me keep reading. I'm going to jump over to page 276 and 277. So it's the boys and the girls, and they get together. And the girls are going to be the lookouts, but they're also the helpers. But it's mostly the boys that are doing the grunt work. It's the middle of 276. Some of the girls were afraid because they thought the elders would find out. Shuyush said, "We will wait for a few days and we will go behind the big houses where they have thrown away some of the spoiled food. The wood is still good. The elders have already spoken to those planks, so we won't have to talk to them much ourselves. We will get some of the rocks that have been spoken to, and these rocks will weigh the skin down." What they're doing is they're taking the skin and bones of these old whales, and they're taking rocks and sticks, and they're going to build their own killer whale. And they're using sacred Indian medicine, using the right words to talk to the sticks and the rocks and even the skin to ask them to help out. Let me keep reading. The children were scared, but they were very excited as well. One of the girls said, "I can see the gray whale skin from here. How are we going to make it into a killer whale?" "That is where you come in," Shuyush answered. "At night you will start taking some of the black paint and some of the white paint that is hidden under your mother's beds. You will also get some from your aunties." 3 of them had already learned to prepare paint, so they knew what they were doing. "Also get as much tamulh, red ochre, as you can from under the baskets, or the baskets under the platforms of the big house. We must have everything ready." So They get all the ingredients. They get sticks, they get bones, and they get the old skin of this old rotted up gray whale, and they get it together, and they're doing this in the secret. Let me jump over to page 277 near the bottom. Now we're talking with the elders. The elders are witnessing that some of the children are doing something weird. One of the old ladies said, "Something is going on with these children. I can feel it." "You're just getting old," her husband said. "All the children become very active at this age. They don't listen to what we say anymore." "This is different. I can feel it," the old woman said. The children watched and waited and continued to help. They had signals now. Shuyush taught them signals and body language. They could send a message by one way and threw their heads back, by the way they threw their heads back and moved their eyes. One of them said, "I hear your voice telling me what to do even when you are not looking at me." It's good that you hear thoughts, because that is what we will be doing when we are inside the skin, Shuyush said. So the young people became so in tune with each other that they knew what the others were thinking at all times. Remember, they're using ancient Indian medicine. These are preteen kids, pre-pubescent kids who are feeling left out, abandoned, neglected in their villages. And every time they do something they mess up, the elders tell them to get out of here. The older kids tell them, get out of here. So that's what they're doing. They're feeling sad and neglected. Let's jump on over to page, let's see now. Talk to themselves, they were no longer. Yes, the bottom of page 278. That evening, all the boys and girls gathered at their meeting place. Some went ahead to the hidden bay where they would take the skin. The others took the skin of the gray whale, Kunus, into the water. Some of the children were carrying special rocks that they had left there. Some of them got underneath the skin. Some of them got inside the skin, and some of them cut holes in the skin and laced the timbers through the holes. They talked to the skin constantly, pleading with it, praising it. And they could almost feel the skin swimming. When they were hungry, the children talked to themselves and they were no longer hungry. And when they were thirsty, they talked to themselves and stopped being thirsty. When the boys and girls went around the point, the tide started to change and the children quickened their pace. They were hurrying. They pleaded with the skin to be safe so it would not be harmed or damaged. They spoke to the skin as if it were alive, saying, "If you are tired, we will stop." But the skin said, "No, keep going. I will help you." This made the children very happy. They were all listening to the skin now and understanding it. As they came around the rough and rocky point, they didn't even feel the rocks. It was almost as if they were walking on water. I'm going to skip on down. So, they talked to the winds, and they talked to the rocks, and they talked to everybody, all the plant people, the stone people, and the winds are saying thank you, and they're saying thank you to the winds, and they're negotiating. The wind dies down, the rocks and all the elements cooperate with these little boys to help them as they secretly build their killer whale. I'm going to turn to page now, this is 280. Page 280. Let's see. The girls are sleeping in the woods. We're going to skip on down. She smiled to himself. Blah, 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 blah. Once they were all together, Shuyush prayed for everyone and told what he had heard his grandmother say. We must remember these words from her. She is sending us forth. She knows we are grown, because he had just prayed to Grandmother Earth and Grandmother Sea. So she's sending us forth. She knows we are grown, that we are not children anymore. You girls are not children anymore. You are becoming women. If they do not accept you back in the village after this day, you must look after one another. When it is time for you to live with a man, you must look for that person in another village. It must not be one of your relatives." He sounded like a little old man, an ancient man who was dying the way he talked. Now I'm going to skip on over to, let's see, they're honoring the rocks, and they take the young people stretch the skin over the biggest rock, and Shiyush marked where the lines would be. He marked the top black, the bottom white, and the fins with little white tips. The Squeuk little boy, the youngest boy, would be in the front holding a fire bag. The fire bag was used at other times to take fire with him when they journeyed far into the hills. But tonight, they were going to use the fire bag to make smoke. When their model whale surfaced, they would blow smoke through the blowhole. They used large kelp, cutting the bulb in half so it acted like a funnel to take the smoke from the fire pouch to the blowhole. They talked to the kelp, pleading with it to honor them by becoming part of the blowhole. They knew that the kelp might not like the heat from the smoke, as it was not used to this. They explained to the kelp, "It is very important that we have this smoke, which is part of our breath, to make this skin become alive with us in it." The children gathered black paint, white paint, and red ochre. "Why do we need red ochre?" one of the younger girls asked. "Red ochre represents blood," Siyush said. "Red ochre is a special gift from Mother Earth. It is